What up, what up, what up? Hey everybody, this is Dan DeFi. Today we're going to talk about Hedera Hashgraph. This is going to be kind of a longer video, so I'm going to eventually make the time snippets so you could just click to whatever part of the video you'd like to watch. But I'm going to go over Hedera Hashgraph in total. This is going to be my most in-depth video, so I hope you're feeling ready for a little bit of listening. So here we go. First off, I want to explain what Hedera Hashgraph is. Most people don't even understand that it's the future of everything. It literally can run everything in our lives, and I believe it's literally going to take over. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So, first of all, it's a public distributed ledger. It's one of the fastest, most secure, and most decentralized public ledgers. Their roadmap actually is to become the most decentralized, and I think they're already on that path. So currently Hedera Hashgraph is growing, and they do have a governing council. We'll get into more of that a little bit in the video here. But there's a couple things you're definitely going to have to understand. They do have a couple of services that they offer besides being a cryptocurrency that is available for purchase. But what is available for purchase is called HBAR. Actually, HBAR right here is a token that is the governance token for Hedera Hashgraph, meaning the more you own, the more say-so you have in the future of the changes there at the Hashgraph and what this company / platform / coin is doing. This thing's really built for enterprise guys. This is a enterprise grade distributed public ledger. This isn't very consumer focused right now yet. I know that in the end they will be, but right now they're building for enterprise, and I think that's one thing that a lot of these other projects and tokens and stuff that you see out there are kind of failing at. They're not building for consumer. They're building for business, which is, business is the first to adopt it, because once businesses adopt it, consumers will have no choice but to continue with adoption. So right now we're going to look at the chart here. As I said, the H bar is currently at 33 cents. It has gone up. It's gone all the way up to like 40. I think all-time high was like 49. Oh, look, we got, no, maybe not. So we got a 58 cent here. But yeah, this is the current price. You guys can check that out as you're watching a video or whatever live, however you like to do that. So we're going to pop over here to Dragon Glass now. Dragon Glass basically is like a dashboard that you can look at what's going on Hedera. What nodes are kind of doing what. You can kind of click through and look at all of these cool, helpful analytics. So you see transactional volume for one day has been, almost 3 million tokens. And then here's the... yeah. So I think I'm wrong about. I don't think this is tokens. HBAR transacted for the selected period. All right, so this is one day. So it's been 30. So you can see how many HBAR have been transacted. A lot. I think that's just a big number. I want to keep going down here. So Dragon Glass is great. There's a lot of helpful information about Hedera Hashgraph. Let's continue on. So a little bit more about Hedera. And you guys can go to hedera.com to read all this. They literally put everything, all the information is kind of out there for everybody to kind of look at what's available. And all that, and what the market cap's going to be, and all that good stuff. So we're going to continue on. This, I think, was maybe an accident slide. Alright. No, we don't want to get into that yet. Let's go to this one. So you can look at here the transaction volume by service, and it's kind of cool. You can look at week and the average TPS, and everything for each service on Hedera, because Hedera has multiple services and what they're what's available. Here's consensus finality and coming to consensus. So it's pretty interesting. You can see each node or each server and how long it takes them to come to the decision. So that's really helpful. That's pretty cool information right there. So back to the governing council. I said we'd get to that later in the video, so it's time for us to go over that. So there is currently, I think 39 in total. 39, I think, companies on the Hedera Hashgraph Council, or there will be 39. We'll get into that information later. I gotta just make sure that that's the right number. But you see Avery Dennison, Google, IBM, LG. These are some of the biggest companies in the world. Zane, Wipro, UCL, Standard Bank. I mean, some of these are global guys. EFT Pulse, they're in Australia doing micropayment transactions. The governing council is what makes Hedera great. I'm glad that it has some kind of steering instead of just memes or Elon Musk steering the project. So that's really helpful. So one thing I do want to highlight is after 1 year of open access, Hedera has processed more transactions than Ethereum. This is pretty substantial, because Hedera at this point, I think they only did in like less than a year. They process an average of 1.5 million transactions per day. That's almost double what Ethereum was doing at the time. And the transaction fees on Hedera transactions are super low. So you can see that at this time they're growing. Now they've done more transactions, I believe, than Bitcoin as well. So we're going to get into, sorry guys, some of these slides are not where I wanted them to be. One other thing I wanted to point out, whereas we're going to get into this, is Hedera is super, it's the best sustainable public ledger. You can see right here a recent study by UCL, which is they did the study. You can see that they only used the global power consumption of Hedera is 3.530 kilowatt, compared to these other projects. Cardano, what a funny project. It's 497.218 kilowatts, so almost 500. It's just Hedera is the most sustainable and lowest energy consumption per transaction on the whole. Out of all projects, I'm pretty sure. I haven't seen anything. I think there was like one or two projects that are pretty close, or maybe a little bit lower. I know like some projects like Solana are catching up with TPS, but Hedera is 10K TPS throttled. So that means that they have the ability to throttle up their speed, and I think that that's super awesome, and something that we're going to look for in the future. So we're going to get into more of what Hedera's been doing recently to kind of get everything popping. As I said, I had these slides kind of mixed up, so I'm just trying to close out some of these other ones for you guys. So recently, Hedera announced that they're going to allocate $5 billion in HBAR to an independent foundation. I think this is great. This is them really trying to expand the ecosystem and grow the technology. Hold on one second, guys. And grow the technology, and I think that it's just going to be super great. There's no other project I think that's given this much allocation to growing. It's really just sensational. I mean, oh, so here I was wrong. So it says right here that the Hedera's Governing Council currently comprises of 23 organizations, but I think that 39 is the master number of what they're trying to get to. And as you can see also right here in this announcement, Shane Higdon, he's pretty active on Twitter. He's the man now at the HBAR Foundation. So the HBAR Foundation is the organization that's going to work on this $5 billion allocation to grow the ecosystem. So if you check it out, they already got their own website, HBAR Foundation. You can apply for funding already. That's super freaking sweet. And I think that there's a lot of information. If you want to get a project going or you want to build on Hedera, this would probably be the way to go. So now we're going to get into one of my other favorite parts of Hedera Hashgraph, which is the ecosystem. We've been talking a little bit about what they're doing to kind of build their ecosystem. Now I'm going to go into some of the companies on the ecosystem, what they're doing, and how they're growing Hedera Hashgraph to be a real global player. And that's the part I'm most interested in this project. So this first video we're going to look at is from a startup called Otrafy, or I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, but basically let's just check this video out really quick.
App Talks, this is Brady at Hedera, and we're exploring the future of decentralized applications. In this episode, we chat with Alicia, co-founder and CTO at Otrafy. Their vision is to create tracking and transparency in the organic foods industry for both producers and consumers. Let's learn more. Today we have Alicia Wynn, who is the CTO of Otrafy, with us.
Yeah, so basically...
Thanks for joining us, Alicia.
Thanks for having me here.
So basically, before she starts speaking here, the reason I think that this is such an important topic right now is because America's food supply chain is so jacked up that we're literally about to probably go into a food shortage by winter, according to everything. Inflation, supply chain, everything is jacked. So I just wanted to quickly say that before we watch this little part of the video here.
Yes, wow.
So to start things off, could you give us a quick overview of within the organic food supply chain space, what kinds of problems exist out there today that you're finding?
Yes. So one of the problems with the organic food supply chain is that, so in order for us to actually identify a product as organic, all information that we have is just through a sticker. And that sticker doesn't actually tell us a lot, right? So for example, the standard of being organic in the USA versus the standard of being organic in Australia, they can be completely different. And for us as a consumers, because we already spend a little extra to buy organic food, so I don't think that sticker is enough for us to actually justify the amount of money that we spend.
Doesn't that make sense, guys? I mean, just that one thing she said about what she's trying to do. She's trying to simplify the organic standards and make them actually organic. Because really, it's just a sticker. And we're paying extra money in a store and you don't even really know where the item came from or who grew it. Or that information isn't that easily accessible. So that's one big player, guys. I think Otrafy, I think if they keep growing and keep really pushing at it, I know it's a small startup right now, but I really have big hopes for them. And I think that with everything going on globally, and especially in the U.S. of A., we need companies like this to innovate in this space. So that's one big part of the ecosystem that I think could grow and Hedera could become very good at is data integrity, and they're already really doing that in a lot of different fields that we're about to touch on. But this is a real world problem right now. Like, someone needs to bring this startup to the FDA and the USDA and say, look, here's the solution. So we're going to keep going on with more companies, guys. I just wanted to really hit that one part about our supply chain and what's happening and how this could potentially be a solution. So let's talk about this next company, which is, it's actually the French equivalent of an energy provider in your state. So I don't know where you're watching this or whatever, but for the whole country of France, basically they provide power. So if you look at what they're doing, I'm not going to say this. EDF is a top 5 global utility firm utilizing customers worldwide. And what they're doing is they're using Hedera to help with carbon tax. So if we go down in this, if we keep going down in this little post right here or article, I think it talks about somewhere what they're working on. But basically what they're working on is technology to, here, let's just do it. Let's just look it up really quick. I know it's carbon. Yes. Here we go. Seeking carbon neutrality, French utility giant EDF turns to Hedera. See, the company plans to use Hedera to deploy tokenized carbon offset and credit system. So this is one thing that I think a lot of people are talking about, and what's going to be in the future for America is this coming here? I mean, I've heard a lot about that. I think in a proper way, if we did this properly, and America deployed this technology correctly, I think that this could be really good stuff to help out with the climate change. But this French utility company is already taking advantage of that, and that's why I think that it's a really huge part of the ecosystem. Now, they're actually on the governing council, but just what they're doing all together, building on Hedera as a company and being a part of this is just super, super awesome stuff. So we're gonna go to this next company. They're in Georgia, and what they've been doing is this company has been helping out with the COVID stuff, vaccine, shortages in vaccines and stuff like that. We're gonna watch this short video, and we'll be talking about more about this company in a second.
Talked about this in July. There's a task force. This is a real thing. One thing you will notice, those of you guys who are keen-eyed, there's nothing they're talking about the master patient index. Okay? And that's kind of a sexy thing to talk about when it comes to blockchain and distributed ledger technology. I don't believe in it, at least not in the US. The reason is the trigger for that is large-scale identity management. And that's not there. And there is no such thing as a universal ID for healthcare for any of us. I won't get into that. That's a whole other conversation. But either way, that's the reason why that's not there. It turns out, I like this quote from Muhammad Ali. It's not the mountains that are going to wear us out, it's the pebbles. In the world of healthcare, the pebbles are data, because data is siloed. You got loads and loads and loads of systems, much of which could be no more than an Excel spreadsheet, that contain real production data. Well, these Excel spreadsheets and FoxPro databases, Access databases, and Oracle databases, etc., they were never designed with interoperability. They were never designed with sharing. But
so is this the future of healthcare data? Is Hedera Hashgraph going to take over the world with data integrity? Well, I don't know, but this is what this company's working on, and I really wanted to highlight this company. And I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Acoer. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but so they built this product called RightsHash, and what RightsHash does is it's helping to manage individuals' rights and the ability to track and monitor discrete rights and protections in real time. And I'm also pretty sure that if you go to Acoer, their website, they're the ones that actually also helped with building the vaccine product. So yeah, see hash log, hash load, rights hash. So here's the rights and protections. And then they got data stamping and hash log. So if we go more into this, you can look at, here's two of their founders, I think, their CEO and founder. Here's a short video clip I wanted to play of them talking about how they learned about Hedera Hashgraph.
Is actually for both Jim and David. It's a very general question. How did each of you, and we'll start with Jim, how did each of you come across Hedera in the first place?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, as David described, I had been looking at blockchain technologies for about 5 or 6 years. You know, and I, you know, when we're at CDC in particular, we had built our own Ethereum network and had some nodes and things like this. And then realized really several issues. One, that it was just too expensive, too much time, too much effort, too much gas.
So you're saying Ethereum was too expensive to build on?
Fundamentally, we wanted to build real-time systems. And then the real kind of key concept here was this idea of getting to finality of a transaction, right? You know, and I think my thought was, well, we need to have something where the transaction, you know, essentially can be perceived to be real time, which means that we have to get to some kind of validation of a transaction.
So he's dependent, his company Acoer is dependent on the Hedera Hashgraph consensus and gossip protocol to make transactions final or in finality fast enough. So it's real-time data.
On the blockchain, you know, within a few seconds. So this is about 3 years ago, and so we looked at various options. At that time, I think Swirls had just come out, you know, with their SDK, and it was like right after their public announcement. So we were just excited. It's like, well, you know, this could be an option. So long story short, it really started from day one of Swirl. You know, we got the SDK, we experimented, you know, we liked it. And as time went on, and particularly once Hedera was announced and the public DLT manifestation was, you know, what was kind of a reality, that really kind of excited myself and my team, because that was what we were looking for. You know, essentially a public DLT that would provide the transparency, the scale, the finality of transactions in very few seconds, but also, frankly, the economic viability to be able to pull this off, right? I was mentioning a little bit earlier that we do this data stamping service. So right now we have.
So he's talking about
3 million.
We just looked at their services. He's talking about their data stamping service right now.
Data stamping events on Hashlog, right? So, you know, if we're going to do this in Ethereum, you know, I'll be bankrupt, right? There's just no client would want to pay that. So it would fundamentally break what we're doing. But the economic viability, you know, was really important. The governance model was important. We liked the fact that the team was very seasoned. We loved the 15-year, you know, kind of release of the cryptocurrency. There were a number of like low-level details I really liked. But ultimately, I think it was really kind of this idea that this was so much more in line with what we're looking for from an application architecture and application design perspective.
And that's what every company is saying. They all recognize that Hedera is the future and that the technology is next gen. Man. All right, we're going to keep going on this, guys. So, as you can see right here, like I said, Hedera is involved in tracking, cold tracking of the COVID-19 vaccine. They were involved. You can find this link as well. But yeah, they got involved with that. There's a lot of different things that Hedera is involved with. I don't really. I thought this had to do with Acoer as well, but looks like this is with a different thing here. So, but here's the Acoer information. Rights Hash builds on Hedera to pioneer decentralized data management, so data management, user right management, and you can look at their company. So They're in healthcare. Obviously, they're building an open API for pharma and life sciences, and that's what they're building. And the hash log, basically, that's what it does. Is it takes data, hashes it out, and saves it on Hashgraph. Jim's a really good, smart dude. I really think that Acoer is going to go far. So let's get into the next thing, the Chopra Foundation. If you guys don't know, Mr. Chopra, Deepak Chopra, he's huge in healthcare and the wellness and all that good stuff. And he's actually building on Hedera as well. They have like a whole video. Oh, that's loud. Sorry about that, guys. And you can go through this video. I'm not going to go through it. Sorry about the loudness. But you can go through it. But yeah, they're building on Hedera. And I don't know, guys. He's got a pretty good network. I think that this all these companies. I'm really just going through this whole ecosystem. But each of these is another important key factor on why Hedera Hashgraph is going to be a global phenomenon. It's going to eventually just take off. And people are going to be too late to get in. And you're going to be like, oh, but Dan said. And you're going to be too late. So, that's the thing. All right, let's go into the next company. Let's get into this. So, Suku Infinite. So, what Suku is, guys, is basically like a NFTs for resale of goods. So, if you say you got some brand new Jordans and you want to sell them to your buddy, but your buddy wants to make sure they're authentic, and you're not trying to rip them off. Basically, Suku, what they do is they add a special NFT tag to physical goods, and then you're able to transact those goods on their networks. And the original owner of the good will always get some type of feedback if the good is bought and sold frequently or bought and sold past the first reseller. So Suku's building some really amazing stuff for authentication of physical goods. And if you guys don't realize, like I said, this is the thing. Authentication of our food. Authentication of where it's grown. Authentication of collectibles. Authentication of other goods and services. This is Suku's building that. I think that they're working on of more luxury goods and products. But like I said, this could be added to any product or service really in the future. Lots of people are more interested in making stuff. Their stuff's authentic nowadays than fake. People don't want to be duped out. So I think that this is, Suku's going to grow, and the ecosystem seems to be growing already. I've seen some of the videos for the app. It looks pretty dope. So I'm pretty impressed by this, guys. I think that, see right here. So you can basically you verify your authenticity of your product through their whole marketplace. It's great. You guys can come read more about it. We're going to keep going on more about the ecosystem, though. So if you look here, DLA Piper. I wanted to really talk about DLA Piper. They're huge. They're like one of the biggest law firms in the world, and they're building on Hedera as well. They have this thing called Toko. You can read more about it, but basically it's a tokenization engine and digital asset creation platform that provides technology services to complement DLA Piper's legal capabilities. So there's probably a whole bunch of information. There's actually a webinar on this, and you guys can read more about it. All you need to know is DLA Piper is a super important organization, and to have them on Hedera Hashgraph is awesome and amazing. So IBM is also on the governing council of Hedera. And, like I said, we're talking about the ecosystem. So we're talking about use cases and startups, but also the governing council members and kind of why they're important to the ecosystem. So that's kind of what we're going through right now, guys. Thanks for staying with me and staying tuned in. We're almost done here. So if you look at this IBM information, they actually built a Hyperledger and a couple other products on Hedera. You can read more about Hyperledger and what it does. But basically, Hyperledger is a product that if a company doesn't want everything, all their financials that they put out in public, basically they can build their own private mini hash graph, and this will be super important for companies, because